Hey everyone, we got two Sams here right now. Sam Brief, Sam Acho catching up. Sam spoke to the Cougars LEAD Academy the other day. And Sam, first of all, you're down in Texas. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Sam. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. Good to catch up with you this morning. So I want to start by asking you about the meeting you had with the LEAD Academy. Share briefly just the message that you shared with those student athletes.
Yeah, well, a couple of days ago, I got a chance to share with some of the members of Cougars LEAD, which is an unbelievable program within the Chicago State University. A lot of members from the Student Athlete Advisory Council were there, and I was one of the members of SAC back when I was in college. And it was really special, right? I went to the University of Texas, and I played football there, and I obviously was in academics, and I was a member of SAC, so there's that NCAA leadership piece. And for me, getting a chance just to sit down with some of the student athletes at Chicago State was special because not only did it remind me of the grind of being a student athlete. So many of the student athletes now are at home. They're not on campus, and sometimes their homes are in different countries. Some people are in Canada or in Serbia, or they're all over the world. So there's that grind, but it also reminded me of the hope of a student athlete, right? The ability, the way to dream. We talked a lot about leadership, how people look up to us. There was one of the student athletes saying how she's a tennis player, and Hansika, I believe her name is, a tennis player, and she said, man, I didn't think anybody really looked up to me, but I remember one little girl, she's actually a golfer, one little girl saw me golfing and said, hey, I've been watching you for years. I love you. I adore you. Right? That was special. Talked about a tennis player who I believe was in Eastern Europe right now because they can't be on campus, and that's where they're from. And they were saying how people ask her all the time, wow, how did you make it to America? And how is it? You're in university. And so, yes, there is this struggle piece. We also talked about the hope that we have as student athletes to be great.
And Sam, I know something that you often talk about, you've written about in your book, is the idea of being you and being your true self. And I think people who know you, whether it's from your NFL career as a linebacker here in Chicago, we know you as a former Chicago Bear, or just in your career as a writer and a motivational speaker, that idea of being you is really central. So could you sort of expound on what being you means to you?
Absolutely. Well, I think that a lot of times we tend to pretend. We tend to pretend. We want to act like we're someone we're not, whether because of pressure via social media. Everyone's putting up their best faces all the time. You don't see the real them. Or maybe it's because of some shame that we have in ourselves as things that we don't feel adequate enough. Or maybe, just maybe, we are really talented and we don't want to share that with anybody else. I've been in all three categories, starting with the really talented category. I was getting my MBA from the #1 international business school in the world, the Thunderbird School of Global Management, while playing in the NFL. It's my master's degree while playing right up here, but I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want them to think of me differently. I wanted to fit in. I've been there in the shame piece, the piece of like, man, am I enough? Am I really enough? So I didn't want to show people the real me. Another piece is this piece of, for people who know me, I'm the ultimate competitor in a lot of ways. I want to win, and oftentimes to my detriment, but I also am a Christian. And so people know that, and they think, well, Christian, you're supposed to be nice and almost a pushover in a lot of ways, but they don't know the real me is somebody who loves God wholeheartedly, loves people, and will dominate you on a football field. It just is what it is. And so there are these pieces and categories in our life where we don't want to show people who we really are. And I kind of went on this journey and take people on this journey of what it means to be seen, to be known, and to be loved. And that's the journey that I'm on. That's how the book came out, right? My book is called Let the World See You, How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. It just came out a couple of days ago. It's available anywhere books are sold. But that's the message, right? Letting people see you.
What was the biggest hurdle for letting people see you in the midst of your football career? And this could have been as a student athlete at Texas or throughout the NFL.
The biggest hurdle for me wasn't that I wasn't trying to figure out who I was. Some people say, okay, I want to figure out who am I? What do I care about? I knew the things that I cared about. And I believe a lot of us, we know deep down the things that we care about. We've always cared about them, things that we've loved. We've always loved those things. If we didn't love them, we wouldn't be doing them. We wouldn't be thinking about them constantly. But the biggest struggle for me it wasn't not knowing what I liked, it was not sharing it. So I knew what I loved, and like I didn't share it. For me, I love Shakespeare. I love memorizing things. So I can recite Shakespeare. I can recite a soliloquy by Richard III when he became king, and he killed his brother and his dad and married his sister. It was kind of gross, really weird. But he wanted to become king, and I memorized the soliloquy. I loved it, right? I could recite the Canterbury Tales in Middle English, the prologue to the Canterbury Tales in Middle English. I can tell you pi to the 14th decimal. Like I love learning academics, memorizing things and people's names and learning about people. I love that. And I've always loved that. But the biggest hurdle for me was not sharing that with my teammates. I didn't know what they would think if they knew that about me, or my coaches. What will they think if they knew this about me? Or even some of in NFL, the general managers, what will they think if they know this side about me? And so that was my biggest fear. But what I realized was that as I started to let people see me, the real me, my pain, my struggle, my fears, my joys, my passions, my likes and my dislikes, I realized I wasn't shunned, but I was accepted. I was loved. And that's my desire for anybody who gets a chance to not only read my book, but also experience that message of what it means to let the world see you and how to be real when it seems like everybody else is faking.
Could you quickly give me pi to the 14th decimal?
Definitely. It's three. I'm glad you asked. No one usually asks. It's 3.141592 3.14159265358979 or 1592653588979. So that's 14.
You're a man of your word. Well done.
Yeah.
Sam, on the note of identities and college, of course, you spoke at Chicago State the other day. You're a proud Texas alum. What can universities and athletic departments do to help foster an environment where student athletes do feel ultimately comfortable sharing their true selves?
Yeah, I think it starts at the top. It starts not only with coaching staffs understanding their role in not only winning games. Winning games is super important. Obviously, professionally, you can understand. We had coaches who said, "Hey, the fun is in winning," right? So it's fun when you win. So there's that piece, but also understanding that you need to take care of the whole athlete, right? I'm getting a chance to talk to Clemson in a couple of weeks, Lord willing, and one thing that Dabo Sweeney says all the time is that we look at the person first. We are a people first organization. So it's not just what can you do for me on a field or on a court, but who are you in the classroom? Who are you with your teammates? Who are you with your family? And how can I help that person grow? Whether it's a young man or a young woman, how can I help that person grow? So I think it starts at the top with coaches. Then you go to some of the staff members as well, but also you got to go all the way, sometimes athletic directors or people on the board of regents, understanding, yes, winning games is of the utmost importance, but athletes are people too. We're athletes and authors for me, athlete and authors, athletes and teachers, athletes and preachers, athletes and activists, athletes and the list goes on and on and on.
Sam Acho, former NFL player, podcast host, author, humanitarian. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sam.
Sam, I appreciate you. We should do this more often. The Sam thing, I think it's a good look.
Yeah, just maybe it's a Wednesday morning tradition, two Sams chatting.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Safe travels, Sam.
Awesome. Thank you.